جزى الله أصحاب النبي محمد جميعا كما كانوا له خير صاحبي وآل رسول الله لا زال أمرهم.
Alhamdulillah wa salam wa salam ala wa rasulullah. And we're going to start off today by speaking about how important it is to teach good manners in your home, and how it all should begin with kindness. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam once said, whenever Allah wishes good upon you, He introduces kindness amongst you and your family. So if Allah wants goodness for you and your family, He will allow kindness to envelop your hearts, and you will learn to be kind with each other. This is one of the means of attaining happiness in a home, because kindness is very beneficial between the spouses, and it's very beneficial with the children as well. Kindness brings better results than harshness does. And this is why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah loves kindness, and He rewards it in such a way that He does not reward for harshness or anything else. So if Allah wants to bless you and your family, He will instill kindness in your home. Also, another means of establishing the good Islamic household is this: the men should help their wives with the housework. And this is a question that we get so much. So often people will come and say, "Dear Sister Laila, is it my job alone to do the housework, or is it my husband's?" Well, it's both of your jobs. Many men think that housework is beneath them, and some of them think that it will undermine their status and position if they help their wives in it. But this is the wrong idea to have, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to spend his time helping his wives. He used to sew his own clothing. He used to mend his own shoes. And he used to do whatever work that the men would do in their homes to help their wives. Subhanallah. Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, she once said the Prophet was like any other human being. He would wash his clothing, he would milk the sheep, and he would serve himself. Subhanallah. We got some men who treat their wives like slaves. You come home from work, you put your feet up on the table and demand for your wife to serve you. Subhanallah. The Prophet used to serve himself, and he would help his wives in doing the chores. And also, in another hadith, Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, stated that the Prophet used to serve his family. Then, when the time for prayer came, he would go out to pray. Subhanallah. So again, guys, for those men here at the website, think about that. The housework doesn't just fall upon your wife. If you want to be a good man, if you want to be like the Prophet, then you should help her in the housework. Remember, guys, the best example for us is the example of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if more men would help their wives, this would make the men more humble. This would keep the men from being so arrogant. And this will help to instill love and mutual respect between the spouses. In addition to this, not only should the man help his wife, but he should also show affection to her. and be joking with her, and also be affectionate with the children as well. Understand that showing affection to your wife and children, this is one of the things that leads to creating an atmosphere of happiness and friendliness in the home. And again, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was the best example. We have a wonderful hadith, whereas once one of the companions got married, and the Prophet asked him, why didn't you marry a virgin so you can play with her and she can play with you? You can make her laugh and she can make you laugh. Now this hadith does not mean that you can only play and laugh with virgins. But this was a young man, an inexperienced man. So the Prophet was telling him to marry a virgin like himself, so they could teach each other and play with each other. But this man married a woman who had already been married before, because he had daughters. He had sisters to take care of. So we learn from this hadith that men should be affectionate with their wives, joke with them, play with them, laugh with them, show love to them. We have another hadith where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, everything in which Allah's name is not mentioned is idleness and play, except for 4 things, and one of them being a man playing with his wife. How many of you brothers play with your wives? Subhanallah. Some men think that they're supposed to be brutes. You come home and give your wife orders. You have to be serious and never joke, never laugh, never be affectionate to her. This is not Islam. The Prophet used to kiss his wives. He used to hug them. He used to joke with them. He used to play with them. Subhanallah. He used to play with his wives even when he took baths with them. We have a hadith where Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, tells us that the Prophet and her, they used to take baths together. They used to take a bath from the same vessel. And he would pretend to take all the water. And she would say, leave some for me. So here you can see that playing with your wife is something good to do. Not only did the Prophet play with his wives, he used to also show affection to his children as well. Whenever the Prophet would come home from a journey, the children of his household would be taken outside to meet him, and he would hug them close. Subhanallah, one of the children states that when the Prophet came home from a journey, he and Hassan and Hussein ran out to meet him. Hassan and Hussein were his grandkids, and the Prophet carried them on his back. So again, this hadith here shows that we should be affectionate towards our children as well. Also, kissing. There's nothing wrong with kissing your children. The Prophet used to kiss the children of his household. In fact, one man saw him kiss his grandson, and the man said, "O Prophet of Allah, I have 10 children, and I have never kissed any one of them." And the Prophet said, "The one who does not show mercy will not be shown mercy on the day of judgment." Subhanallah. Kissing your children, guys, this is a way of showing mercy. Allah puts mercy in our hearts. If you don't show mercy to a child, how do you think Allah is going to be merciful to you? Subhanallah. Also, we have to understand that no one is perfect. Each member of your family may have their own personality, their own character. You may have some children who are